Hi friends. It's time for Sunday school again, and we've been talking about the story of Noah and the ark, and before I got here today I was trying to remember exactly how that story goes, so maybe you can help me. I'm looking at some pictures here and hoping you can help me put them in order. Let's see. Here are the pictures, and I'm looking at them trying to think which part comes first. I'm not really sure. Do you remember? Let's see. Here's the part where God says to Noah, take the animals. That's kind of towards the beginning. Here's the dove. The family. There's the animals getting on the ark. Oh, that looks like towards the end when the ark is on the dry land and the animals are getting off. So that could be towards the end. Let's see. And that must be right before that when Noah sent the dove out to find the dry land. So we could probably move these two. Let's see. Let's move those two like that. Okay. Then let's see. What's this one over here? Oh, that's when he's building it. Okay, so that's going to go towards the beginning. Let's see if we can put these in a little bit of an order. You guys point to them on the screen and see what kind of order you think they go to. What's at the beginning and what's at the end? What do you think? So I think I've got it worked out. I think it starts over here with the people not being very nice. Remember, God chose Noah because he was a good man, and the rest of the world wasn't working so well. And then God said, build the ark, and everyone laughed at him because there was no rain, and they didn't believe his story. God told him to take animals and his family. So there they go. They're loading the ark with the animals. 2 of each animal. His family went too. And then, when it stopped raining, he sent the dove out. And finally the dove came back with a piece of dry land. And they knew that soon they would hit that dry land. They did. They could all get off. And then what's at the end of the story? A rainbow. Yay, we did it. We got to the end. So that's the part of the story that we're going to talk about today, is the rainbow at the end. And what the promises that God made to Noah and the promises that Noah made to God that we continue to keep today. We call those the rainbow promises. Let's read our story, and I want you to pay attention to the promises and the rainbow. Okay? This is The Ark That Noah Built by Melody Carlson. This is the ark that Noah built. This is the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the rats that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. And these are the cats that chased the rats that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the dogs that growled at the cats that chased the rats that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the tigers with razor-sharp claws that frightened the dogs that growled at the cats that chased the rats that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the alligators with wide open jaws that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws that frightened the dogs that growled at the cats that chased the rats that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the monkeys with shrieking cries that teased the alligators with wide open jaws that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws that frightened the dogs that growled at the cats that chased the rats that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the snakes with hypnotic eyes that charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries that teased the alligators with wide open jaws that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dogs that growled at the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled at the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the elephants with stomping feet that scattered the snakes with hypnotic eyes, that charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries, that teased the alligators with wide open jaws, that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dogs, that growled at the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the bees that were robbed of their treat, that stung the elephants with the stomping feet, that scattered the snakes with hypnotic eyes, that charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries, that teased the alligators with wide open jaws, that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dogs, that growled at the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the bears that ate all the honey, that angered the bees that were robbed of their treat, that stung the elephants with the stomping feet, that scattered the snakes with the hypnotic eyes, that charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries, that teased the alligators with wide open jaws, that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dog, that growls at the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. These are the hyenas that thought it was funny, that laughed at the bears that ate all the honey, that angered the bees that were robbed of their treat, that stung the elephants with the stomping feet, that scattered the snakes with hypnotic eyes, that charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries, that teased the alligators with wide open jaws, that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dogs, that growled at the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. What is going on down here? This is Noah, who yelled so loud, who quieted the hyenas that thought it was funny, that laughed at the bears that ate all the honey, that angered the bees that were robbed of their treat, that stung the elephants with the stomping feet, that scattered the snakes with their hypnotic eyes, that charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries, that teased the alligators with wide open jaws, that snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dogs, that growled at the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. This is the dove that broke through the clouds, sent by Noah, who yelled so loud, who quieted the hyenas that thought it was funny, that laughed at the bears that ate all the honey, that angered the bees that robbed of their treat, had stung the elephants with the stomping feet, that scattered the snakes with their hypnotic eyes, and charmed the monkeys with shrieking cries, that teased the alligators with wide open jaws, and snapped at the tigers with razor-sharp claws, that frightened the dogs, that worried the cats, that chased the rats, that nibbled the grain that was stored in the ark that Noah built. And this is God's promise to you and to me, written by rainbow and twig of a tree, a promise to lead us and guide us always, to love and protect us the rest of our days. Wow, things seem to get a little hectic on the boat there. I'm glad that Noah stepped in and calmed everyone back down, because you can imagine having all of those animals together in one place in such close quarters could get a little crazy. Everyone wants to get a little piece of somebody else. Now, what happened at the end of the Noah story? Do you remember? Besides Noah regaining control of all the animals. Yeah, he sends the dove out. The dove finds a twig that tells them that there's going to be dry land soon. So they start to get ready, thinking they can get off this ark pretty soon. And then God sends a what? A rainbow. And with that rainbow, God makes a promise that God will never do this again. Whew, because this has been a big deal. They've been on that ark for a long time, cooped up with each other, and the world doesn't look anything like they know it when they're going to get off. Oh my gosh, that sounds sort of familiar, doesn't it? Yeah, we've been cooped up a long time, and the world looks a little bit different now. So it's really good to know, both for Noah and for us, that the rainbow that God sent promises us that God will never do this again. God does not want the world to end. So we know, as much as it might feel like it some days, the world is not going to end. We've got a promise from God in the rainbow. Now, God promises Noah that and promises us that. But what does Noah promise God in return? Noah already promised that he would take care of the animals, right? What did we learn about last week? The legend that Naamah, who was Noah's wife, promised that she would take care of the plants and replant everything. Okay, so taking care of the animals, taking care of the plants and the earth. Is that our promise? Yeah, taking care of each other. So we can keep those promises. We can be God's rainbow people and keep the promises that we that Noah made on our behalf, that we will continue to live out the rainbow promises and take care of the earth and take care of the animals and take care of each other. We can do that. We do that at home. We can do that at school. We can do that in bigger ways when we get back out into the community. Those are the rainbow promises that we keep. So today we are going to take that promise. We're going to say to God, I promise to keep those rainbow promises. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to each make a medal. And I have 2 ways that you can choose. You might want to do both because we've got time. 2 ways that you can choose to make a medal that says, I will keep that rainbow promise because I am a rainbow person, just like Noah. And I see that rainbow in the sky and I know what God promises to me and I'm going to keep my end of the bargain. So we're going to make medals that we can wear that proclaim that we are rainbow people and we're keeping those rainbow promises. Here's what we're going to do. The first kind of medal we're going to make requires that you have a number 6 recyclable plastic, okay? And I put in your instructions last week to be on the lookout for this number 6 plastic. I don't know if you can see right here, but there's a little triangle or recycle symbol, and inside there's a number 6. So we're going to use this like shrinking inks. Instead of using shrinking ink material that we buy at the store, we can use recycled materials, which helps us take care of the earth by reusing something. Okay, so here's your cup, all right? And we're gonna use just regular Sharpie markers. And I've started to color my cup. I decided I wanted to have a blue sky and a rainbow. And I'm gonna finish up my rainbow here. And you can just color on the cup however you want. Like if you find a food lid that has a different shape, you can make it however you want. And sometimes it's kind of fun to use the shape of the plastic to guide how your metal is going to go. Now, when this shrinks, you think, oh, it's going to look like a smaller cup. No, it's going to flatten out and become a circle. So you can imagine that this is going to just go bloop and be like a full circle. So I'm hoping if I look at it like this, it's going to have a rainbow and sky. And now I think I'm going to color, I think I want this, the bottom of it, to be blue too, like the sky. Now, the other question is, what do we want our medal to say? You can think of that. Do you want it to have your name on it, saying, I am a rainbow keeper? I'm just coloring over all those little recycled plastic signs that are on the bottom of the cup. Don't need any of those. So I think I'm going to write on mine, let's see if I can get this all blue here. I think I'm going to write on mine something about the rainbow promise. So I'm going to take another marker here, and I think just right under the rainbow here, I'm going to write, I am a rainbow promise. I don't have enough to say keeper, so I'm just going to say promise because I keep that promise. You could also write, I keep rainbow promises or anything like that. So it's up to you. Now that it's all colored, I'm going to take it over to the kitchen and we're going to put it in the oven and shrink it. This is the fun part. You might want to make more than one of these, so you can watch them shrink a couple times, but let's go check it out. I'm here in the church kitchen and I'm heating up the oven to about 275. I'm using the toaster oven because you don't need it to be very big. I'm using tin foil because this toaster oven doesn't have a little tray. Although I do find that tin foil works a little bit better than like the baking sheet or something. So you can just make a little tray for yourself like that. I finished coloring my lid, which, like I said, is a little thinner than the cup and what I've used before, so this should work better. And I'm going to put it in the oven. I colored on the inside so the ink will stay. All right, there, it's starting to move. I don't know if you can see that. It's starting to melt down, flatten out, and shrink. once it stops shrinking and flattens mostly, then you can pull it out and flatten it with a pot holder until it's cool. Almost done. There it is. We'll just add a ribbon and it'll be my medal. Hope yours turns out well too. Okay, we have another way to make a medal. This one is using yarn and is woven on a paper plate. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish this up. I just wrapped, I made some notches. You want to be sure that you make an odd number of notches on your plate using scissors, and then one in the center down here, after cutting the plate in half, of course. And then you can weave in and out, over, under, over, under. I used a yarn needle, which was helpful because it's easier to hold the yarn. And I have a lot of rainbow yarn. You could really use whatever color you want. The preschool does a rainbow yarn activity every year, and I always have the leftover yarn from that, and so I have a lot of rainbow yarn. So that was not a problem for me to find, but if you have different colors of yarn or you want your rainbow to be different colors, you can definitely do that. Now, when I got to the end of my one color, I just tied the two pieces together like that, made a knot, and then I kept weaving, okay? So over, under, let's see here, make sure you can see, over, under, and eventually the part with the knot will just kind of work itself into the rainbow, and you can push it to the back so it doesn't show. See, I'm going to go back. I need to go over that one and under that one. The needle just helps you kind of push the yarn through. Otherwise, you could do it without the needle too. The needle gives you something to hold on to. And then when I get to the part where the knot is, see how it just starts the new color? And we keep on going. So that's one way to do it. And like I said, you could make the colors whatever you want, and you just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, over, under, over, under. Make sure to always go the opposite direction that you went over that black yarn before, and that way it will hold together and make a weaving like that. Okay? All right. Now let me show you another way you could do it, because this was kind of fun too. This one, I decided to leave little tassels hanging there. I did that by doubling up my yarn. So I put the needle all the way in the middle, and I have two ends of the yarn at the end. And then I just made sure that if this one I had just gone under, now I need to go over that one, follow the pattern, and when I get to the other side, instead of going back, I'm gonna pull the yarn so it has a little tassel there, and then I will cut it off like that. And then I can do that again. Now, I went over this one, so I wanna go under. Remember, you have to do the opposite. And there we go. I can leave that tassel there and cut that off. Now that I've finished weaving on both of them, you're wondering, what next, Susan? How does that become a medal that I can wear? So let's see. What do we have to do? We have to take it off of the plate. So you can either stretch this off the plate. Once you get the first one off, they should stretch off pretty easily. Or you could cut them in the back. Either way. I'm going to cut this one along the back. And what you want to be careful of is that the weaving doesn't come off of the warp strings, which are the black ones. So I just cut it, and now I'm very carefully going to take the strings off of here. Move this one out of the way. And the last one in the middle. Okay, so now you have, but if I pull any of these strings, it's going to fall apart, the black ones, right? So I'm going to turn it over on its back. So I've cut the strings a little bit. You still see that in there? There we go. And I have some glue, and I'm going to put some glue on here. This is on the back. You can choose which side is the back. Either one could be the back. Put some glue on there, and then stick the ends down so that they'll stay there. Be really careful. You don't want to, I almost lost one there. Okay. And then I'm going to do that with the other ends coming this direction. So I've got a lot of glue. The other thing you could do if the glue is having, if you're having a hard time with it, is, oops, I need a little more glue right there. You could use like some masking tape or packing tape to hold it in place before you glue the felt on. You could also, if you don't have felt, you could use like a piece of cardboard or heavy paper, something just to give it some structure in the back, okay? So now you can see that I'm gonna turn this over carefully. There you go. And it's all glued down to the felt. And once it's dry, I can cut the felt, and then I can decide if I want to either make it a necklace like I would wear around my neck. I could add some yarn and or some ribbon, or I could put a pin on the back and you could wear it on your shirt like a pin, like a nice embellishment for your sweatshirt or something. So there you go. That's one idea. I'll let that dry a little bit before I cut around it. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other one. The other one without these is a little bit easier, but still we're going to want to tie them or glue the black threads on the back so that they stay in place. The best thing about any project like this is that everyone's is going to be different. So I had rainbow colored yarn and I decided to make traditional rainbows. You might have different colored yarn, or you might have ribbon or other stringy kind of things that you want to use. That would be awesome, and you can do it that way. You could put it on cardboard. You could do it however you want. So the idea is to make something, a rainbow of some sort in whatever color scheme you want, and it'll be yours and it'll be great. I want you to take a picture of your rainbow medals, either the Shrinky Dink ones or the yarn ones, or whatever you choose to do. You might make them out of coffee filters, or you might decide you want to make them out of juice can lids, or a yogurt, or a plastic container lid that's already flat and you don't want to shrink it. Whatever you want to do, make a medal for yourself and take a picture of it and have your parents send it to me so that we can include them in our video next week and we can all see the medals that we made this week. So how we're celebrating that we can keep these rainbow promises. Let's have a little fun with the end of the story and the dove. Now remember, the dove went out looking for dry land, and the first time the dove came back with nothing. There was no dry land. And so Noah waited a little while and then sent the dove again. And the next time the dove went out, the dove came back with a branch that said, hey, there's dry land coming and we're going to be able to get off this ark pretty soon. So today for your game, I want you to go outside and find a little branch. Doesn't have to be big enough that it's searchable, but it doesn't have to be super huge. Remember, a dove has to find it. And you're going to go out, find a branch, and then choose a playing area with your family. You could either play inside or outside. Have one person hide the branch while everybody else has their eyes closed, okay? And then you all get to pretend you're the dove and go out and look for the branch. Now, can't find a different branch. You have to find this branch. If you're worried that people will try and find a different branch, you can put a little piece of tape around it or something so that they know that that's the branch. That's just in case your family is tricky. But if they're all super honest, then you're going to send them out. Now, the trick is you have to be a dove. You have to flap your arms and you have to fly the whole time. The dove probably got pretty tired looking for that branch. So the whole time you're looking for the branch, you're flapping like a dove. If you get too tired to flap your arms, you have to go back to the starting place and wait until your arms are rested and then go out and look again. You have to flap your arms the whole time that you're looking for the branch. The person who finds the branch brings it back to Noah, the person who hid it, and says, hey, we've got dry land coming. And then that person gets to be Noah and hide the branch, come back and send the doves out to find it, okay? Have fun with that one. It could be pretty hard if you play it outside, so I hope you'll find some good hiding places, but also I hope that you'll let Noah know that there is dry land coming, because that's a pretty crucial part of the story. Have fun. We have had a lot of fun today thinking about the rainbow promises, and we've been talking about Noah for a few weeks, and we have one more week of the Noah story. We've told the whole story, but I want us to think about how it applies to us a little bit more. We've promised to take care of the animals, take care of the earth, and to take care of each other. And so we'll talk more about that next week and how we can continue to keep those promises in certain ways. Have a great week. I hope you will send me pictures of your medals that you made, and I know they're going to be all unique and wonderful just as you are. And wear them with pride, because you are a rainbow promise keeper. You're keeping the promises that Noah made, and that helps everything stay healthy on this earth. So thank you very much. Have a good week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.